More signs she might be hiding her past. In the previous video, we touched on signs that could suggest a woman has had multiple sexual partners, including her ease with physical intimacy and reluctance to develop deeper emotional bonds. Now, we're going to explore 2 more signs that might provide you with further insight into her past and help you determine if the relationship is worth pursuing. 3. Her stories remain vague or inconsistent. Trust is the foundation of any successful relationship, and a big part of building trust is being open about your history. If you've been together for a while, but her stories seem to lack detail or change every time you ask, this could be a red flag. You might start noticing inconsistencies, small but significant ones, that make you question her honesty. For instance, she might tell you about an ex-boyfriend who she claimed was just a short fling early on, but months later, she casually mentions they were together for over a year. Or perhaps she talks about traveling to certain places during specific times. Yet when you ask her about it later, she seems confused or avoids answering directly. Imagine this: one evening, you're talking about your past relationships, and she says she used to date someone but quickly changes the topic, calling it no big deal. A few weeks later, you happen to bring it up again, and suddenly she describes it as a long-term, serious relationship that impacted her deeply. These shifting narratives can leave you feeling uneasy, as if she's not being transparent about key parts of her life. Another example could be when she talks about her hobbies. Early in the relationship, she's enthusiastic about hiking and tells you she used to hike regularly with friends. But later, when you ask about planning a hiking trip, she looks puzzled and says, "Oh, I don't really do that much anymore," or gives a vague excuse. These kinds of contradictions, especially if they happen often, can make you wonder if she's hiding aspects of her past. So, what should you do? The key is to address the issue calmly and openly. Start by asking her about the specific inconsistencies you've noticed. You might say, "Hey, I've been a bit confused about something you mentioned. A while ago, you said your last relationship wasn't serious, but recently it sounded like it was a big deal for you. Can we talk about that?" By approaching it from a place of curiosity rather than accusation, you create a safe space for her to clarify her story. Her reaction can reveal a lot. If she opens up and explains herself, that's a positive sign. She may have simply felt uncomfortable sharing personal details earlier on, or her memory of certain events could have evolved over time. However, if she deflects or continues to be evasive, it might indicate that she's intentionally hiding something significant from her past. In that case, it's important to consider whether you can build trust with someone who isn't fully honest. 4. She frequently cancels plans at the last minute. Life gets busy, and sometimes things come up unexpectedly. That's normal, but if she's constantly canceling plans at the last minute with vague excuses, it could be a warning sign. For example, you plan a nice dinner together after a long week, and she cancels just hours before, saying she has a work emergency or a friend from out of town visiting. It happens once, and you let it slide, but then it happens again and again. Each time, the reasons become less convincing, and you start to wonder if there's something or someone else going on. Let's say it's not just big plans, but even the smaller ones. You invite her to meet your friends, and she cancels with an hour's notice. Or you plan to spend the weekend together, but suddenly she has to help a friend move or take care of something at home. These excuses may seem harmless at first, but over time, the pattern becomes hard to ignore. Here's a relatable example. You've been looking forward to a date night at a new restaurant for weeks. Everything's set, reservation made. You're dressed and ready to go, but then, just 30 minutes before you're supposed to meet, she texts, "Something came up. I can't make it tonight." No explanation, no follow-up plan. You might feel frustrated, wondering why she didn't mention the conflict earlier or if something else is going on that she's not telling you. How should you handle this? Instead of letting the cancellations pile up, it's important to address the situation early. You can say something like, "I've noticed you've had to cancel plans a lot lately, and it's starting to make me feel like spending time together isn't a priority. Is there something going on that we should talk about?" By framing it this way, you're not attacking her, but expressing how her actions are affecting you. If she genuinely values the relationship, She'll acknowledge the issue and work to make more time for you. She might explain what's been happening and reassure you that it won't continue. However, if she becomes defensive or avoids giving a clear answer, it could be a sign that something deeper is at play, whether it's another relationship, personal issues she hasn't shared, or simply a lack of commitment to you. The bottom line, these signs don't automatically mean the worst, but they are worth paying attention to. Relationships thrive on trust, honesty, and a willingness to be open with each other. If her stories feel inconsistent or she constantly cancels plans without a valid reason, it's important to have a conversation about your concerns. A loving partner will address these issues with care, but if the red flags persist, it may be time to reconsider if the relationship is truly right for you. Remember, communication and mutual respect are essential for a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Keep an eye out for these signs, but also be willing to listen and talk things through with your partner. The right person will want to build something real and lasting with you. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll dive into even more science and strategies for navigating complex relationship dynamics. You don't want to miss it, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when it drops.